Alright guys, real quick, before we get started with the video, this week I was supposed to upload a review of this vehicle here, my Barracuda, but unfortunately all the footage I captured this weekend, let's just say the media gods ate it. So for the moment I'm going to post up another review I did on a different vehicle. I hope you guys like it. So if it seems a little bit out of sequence, it's because of that. I did this car first and then I did that vehicle. So anyway, let's get on with it, and I hope you enjoy the video. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Tales from the Junkyard, and what you're looking at right here is a 1967 Dodge Dart. This is my cousin's car, and we're doing another car review. This car right here, he's had it for a couple of years now, and it's his first car. Actually, he received it once he graduated high school, and he's been working on it before that actually, but we'll go over that in a little bit. But as usual, we're going to go over what the car is, what's in this thing, why it is what it is, and, the good and the bad about it. All right? So, all right, let's check it out. Like I said before, this is a 1967 Dodge Dart. It is a sedan two-door. Now, to the younger guys, they may not mean much. I mean, a sedan is a four-door normally, but how is a sedan a two-door? Back then, a sedan actually didn't mean the number of doors in a car. What it meant was it had a B-pillar. A B-pillar is this thing. So, in old school terms, a sedan had an A, a B, and a C pillar. The B pillar was a structural piece in which it provided a little bit more, rigidity to the top, but it didn't look all that great. I mean, it separated the glass, all that good stuff. It actually seals better, believe it or not, but it doesn't look all that great. But anyway, in any case, this is a sedan. All of these of the time were coupes. Coupes had this window here, but it would have like a little deal that would pop this out, so the window actually articulated. The sedans, this window actually rolls all the way down, believe it or not. So that's actually an interesting little feature. So the sedan's actually better than the coupe, even though the coupe was a little more expensive than this for reasons. But anyway, again, it actually seals way better than any of the cars that were available, the hardtops, any of that stuff. And now again, the hardtop didn't have any of this framing stuff, none of that stuff, right? It looked really cool. You open all these windows down, and you had this big old gaping hole. That was the cool part about it. But these, believe it or not, actually seal a whole lot better. So who knew? And they were the cheapest option. Anywho, let's take a look at this car. Let's do a wide shot of this car. Look at this thing. How cool is that? Straight as an arrow. As straight as a dart, right? So these are the factory steel wheels that were available for the vehicle. Now, believe it or not, these are actually bigger than what was available on this car. This was so bare bones. Back then, these things were actually 13 inches. That's a 14-inch wheel. So these wheels are actually bigger than what was available for that car at the time, believe it or not, from factory. So 13-inch wheels were available for this, dog dish, hubcaps and stuff. And pretty much this is when I talk bare bones, I'm talking bare bones. This is a engine, transmission, wheels, and a thing to cover it with. Some seats in there, steering wheel because, they care about you, but that's about it. I mean, this thing is as it probably came from the factory. This is fairly untouched. It has been repainted at one point in its life, but I mean, look at this. This is about as stock as it gets, right? And look at this grille. This is pretty straight. There is a hit right around here. You can barely tell. From the front, you can really tell, but there's someone back into this thing sometime before we owned it, and it kind of got mushed in, but it looks okay. And yes, he is a daily driven vehicle. He drives this to college every day. Or, well, did before the pandemic. But anyway, look at that. Straight. Holy Lord, is this thing straight. No rust anywhere. It's amazing. California cars, right? But yeah, everything that's on this car is what was available at the time. Take a peek inside of here. See, now this steering wheel, it is not factory option. This wheel was an extra one we had. This thing, believe it or not, we put it in there because it's easier to work with. The big old steering wheel that it had was cracked, broken. It was kind of dangerous. So we just put this in there. It is a column shift, but it has bucket seats. Why? Because reasons. Let's see here. It did not have a radio. Oh, that's another thing. A radio was optional in these cars. Optional. What does that mean? Since there's no radio, these have to have if there was a radio, these would have to have an antenna, right? Well, if you look over there, where the radio antenna would be, there's no hole. And no one's ever covered that up. This literally came from the factory with no radio. How crazy is that? But look at this thing. I mean, it's basically how it came. There's wear there, you know. There, the seats, you got a kind of a gold interior with a green exterior. And actually, the real color of this car was this like teal green. Right, but the sun did it and he had his way with it, and there went that color. But I mean, the outside green's nice. It actually works. It's an old paint job or an old repaint. And you see the little custom touches, period correct custom touches he put with the little cup holders and such. And of course, we got extra gauges because, Lord forbid, the actual gauges that came with this car function correctly. They probably do, but still, it's better safe than sorry. The fact that this thing even has a heater is probably, in and of itself, some sort of a luxury, to be quite honest with you. But I mean, look at this thing. Spartan. It's almost as Spartan as my car. Actually, maybe even more so. And yeah, it's actually, believe it or not, my car, or his car, this car right here, is based off the same body designation as my car. What I mean by that is, Chrysler had body designations, just like everyone else, for their platform of cars, right? So GM has G bodies, Ford, so on. Everybody has their platform of cars. This platform is referred to as an A body. So now, talking about this A body platform, this A body platform was actually, has been around since, I want to say 1960, early 60s. There was a proto, A body with the Valiant car, like my car. However, this was like its third iteration of it. And that platform, actually, believe it or not, lasted from the early 60s all the way up to 1976, where it crossed over to the F body. Now, as for the F body, if you guys want to discuss that, let me know and I'll talk about more about it. But this is an A body. Now, the A body platform was the Chrysler, value car. You needed a car, you needed something with wheels that's reliable, that's cheap, basic, all that good stuff. You got either a Dart or a Valley. So this being the Dart, it had a little bit, different styling, different features to it. One other thing I forgot to point out is this is the V8. So this, believe it or not, is actually an option as well. These normally came with a slant 6 engine, which is like a slanted over inline 6-cylinder with like one single barrel carburetor, and that's pretty much all you got. This, believe it or not, has the optional V8. It's a 2-barrel, and it's not a whole lot of power, but you got the torque out of it. But yeah, so not a whole lot there. Other than that, this car is very bare bones. And here, let me show you what I mean by all that. Here. And these are super easy to open. One-handed. There you go. So that beast right there, that is a 273 cubic inch V8. Now this engine is actually a predecessor to the engine that's in my car. It actually all started with this style of engine right here. The special thing about this engine is it was so well built when it came out that it needs very little maintenance, if any at all. I mean, your oil change, all that good stuff, but these things are freaking bulletproof. It's hard to overheat them. Anyone who's ever had one, ask them. These things are insane. Not a whole lot of power, but a lot of potential and super reliable. This engine's been dead reliable since we got it running. This does have added power steering because, everyday use in the city and stuff. We got to have that. These thing got upgraded only because, believe it or not, this aluminum radiator is cheaper than the stock one that would go in here, and the stock one kind of split open, so can't use that thing. Let's see, we got same thing like mine, manual brakes. We got, all the sparseness you can think of. In fact, it's even more sparse than my car. This is still carbureted, but we switched it over to a 4-barrel for a little more performance, a little bit more oomph out of it. But yeah, there it is. It's all its glory. Something's leaking, you'll find it right there. It's pretty crazy. And like I said, it's dead reliable, runs perfect. He's been using it every day, and it's worked out for him so far. A little bit of the front styling, as you can see, the one single light, just like mine, with your signal lights. The long aluminum piece of grill that we have in the front here, has been actually repainted black in the middle, so it looks a little bit more sporty. One single piece bumper, and in the back, if we go around to the back, you'll see same theme, actually. We got Dart right back here. Look at that. Yeah. and the same, sparseness. You got the taillights, and we got your single piece, bumper. So the whole thing's designed to be as inexpensive as possible for what it is. Okay, now to the reason of why he has this car. Why this car? Well, my dad and I only really know. I mean, I know a bunch of different cars, but we really know Mopars, and this was available at the time in pretty much this condition. A little bit buffing here and there. There's a friend of mine who actually brought this paint back from the dead. It looks really good compared to what it was. It was dead, and he brought that back. But God knows how old that is. Anyway, the reason this whole thing happened is he liked the cars, and we were trying to teach him some practical information, right? Gets down on the side of the road, change a tire, that kind of stuff. That went into how do I fix a car? And we got into all these things, and we started building this thing up and fixing all its little pieces and getting everything done correctly and stuff. So the real surprise there is he didn't realize he was actually helping build his car. And come graduation day from high school, ta-da, here's your car. And so this has sort of taught him how to be more efficient as a person, time management, understand what it is to take care of something that's not so much delicate, but requires this kind of attention. It is an old car, despite of how reliable it is. And so things are going to go wrong. You're going to fix things. You're going to have to figure out how to fix things. It is easy to work on. It is pretty simple. And so that, it's nice. But, the parts aren't super available all the time. Some things are going to be harder to find. The car doesn't break like modern cars, so you have to be more mindful of that. You have to be more mindful of your surroundings, all that stuff. So it teaches you how to be responsible with the car. So good work needs to be rewarded, and that's his reward. All right, so I'd say we hop into this thing, take it for a test drive, and see how she runs. So driving this 1967 Dodge Dart, I mean, what can I say? It's a throwback entirely. This thing is so old school. It has got the old school suspension, old school brakes, old school seats, everything just old school. It's how it would have been back in 67. It's mushy, it's floaty, the brakes barely, even do anything really when you activate them. This car, no problems, none whatsoever. Doesn't care in the world. You go, put sugar in the tank. Okay, whatever, we're good. It's just one of those overbuilt, over-engineered, reliable American cars that, just didn't have all the complexities of modern cars. Nothing in here is overcomplicated. It's lucky it has a heater. Only options in this thing, I think it's the heater and the V8. Other than that, there are no options in this. Oh, and it's got bucket seats. But it's also something to be appreciated. Like I said before, it's a time capsule. It's so cool to step back and just walk into this, sit down in this vehicle, and step back in time into something that just can't exist anymore. Not for mass production, not for sale. I guess in a nutshell, this thing just gives you everything you could ask nostalgia to give you. In order to maybe understand this vehicle, you have to drive it, you have to be in it, you have to already maybe even have appreciation for things of the past, things of the old, to appreciate where we've come from, right? And I mean, this is from the heyday of Chrysler, heyday of cars in general in the USA. We all revert to the 50s, the 60s, and the early 70s of the muscle car era, the era where all the cars, where the classic cars come from, right? It's just the truth. It's what it is. All right, so, you know, there it is, 1967 Dodge Dart in all its stock glory. It was a blast driving this thing. You know, like I said before, it's a step into the past and a way to appreciate how far we've come. That's it. I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed this review of my my cousin's 1967 Dodge Dart. If you like this review, please let me know in the comments below. And as always, see you next time.